being Busta Rhymes. Man, ride his dick, man. Stop fucking playing. All right. Which story I'm looking for? I'm looking for Meek Mill. Where Meek Mill at? Where's Meek Mill at? Okay, I'll just Google it. Oh, here we go. Meek says rappers are paid more to rap about violence and guns. Surprise! He says they actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff. He says, before I wasn't on stages like this. I was on rap stages, rapping about violence and guns. We get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff. So I make sure I even the line and come and talk on stages like this. Let me actually go to the interview, because there's actually an interview that he spoke on it. I think it was him and Meek Mill. It's always been interesting when I hear Meek talk about violence at all. Let's see if I'll find an interview here. Here it is. Is it this?
Spoke about, and you speak with a very authentic voice, a voice that is unique, but also a experience that really needs to be told. So from your authentic voice, what advice would you give people who want to take the path that you're taking, but also make this change in their own life?
I would say, just in examples of Robert, I would say, be more risky. Like, Robert dealing with me dealing with Robert, I don't know what I'm walking into. I'm pretty sure he ain't know what he was walking into, because my background was a little screwed up. And, he took risks, for us to create things like Reform, that led to me being on these stages with the blue square and talking about what we talking about today, racism. Just taking more risk. He took risks with me. I took risks. On the internet, they got me under. You could Google this stuff on TikTok. They got me like as I'm following Robert Kraft and them. They control me like puppets. This is no such thing. This is a man that cared about me at one of my worstest times where I didn't have as many resources as you think as a rapper. I say taking risks and just being more open. I don't have a religion. I'm from Philadelphia where like 90% of the community is Muslim. My mom is Christian. If I've been in prison a lot of times where 90% of the prison was Muslim, it was my best benefits. I've read the Quran, the Bible, I read a lot of things, but what I noticed is if I would have became Muslim or any other race, it would have separated me from my mother. So in some of
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure and an honor to have a true...
And I brought that back to my neighborhood, and when I came back, a lot of people from the Jewish community was thanking me and saying that they know that I cared. Me, I come from a ruthless environment. I grew up in a hood where it isn't any rules. We have morals. We never lost morals. But it's ruthless in that environment. Through all that I grew up in, I still never lost my care for all types of people. I never was taught that way, not to care about all types of people, and I would never lose that. And
wait, somebody got hit with a chair during that brawl? I didn't see that part. Y'all gotta send me that video.
Me and people like Robert, myself, he opened doors for me to be on stages like this, because before I wasn't on stages like this. I was on rap stages rapping about, violence and guns. That we get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff, so I make sure I even align and come on talking on stages like this. But you guys, the NAACP open up.
Why the hell is Meek lying? Ain't nobody pay you more to rap about. They pay you more for hit songs, brother. You see, I think what Meek is saying here is dangerous in theory, because he's fallen back into some ignorance that the only reason why negative music exists is that there's some higher power paying for it to happen. No, you made that music, just like how people make drill music, and people, like, whether it's people on a voyeuristic type of wave or people who are genuinely just like thinking about music as entertainment or people who just want to see drama, they're into that type of stuff. Yes, if Meek rapped about financial literacy, I said that before about 21 Savage, and people were like, nah, people who support the same. No, it's not true. I think this is where Meek is at in his career. And this is why it's ironic that Meek is saying this now. I won't say it's the twilight of his career, but he definitely wasn't saying this during the biggest part of his career. He did say something similar when he got out of jail one time. He said he was going to, not try to rap about violence, but then his next album did have raps about violence. That's what your audience, like you've created an audience that only wants to hear you talk about killing other black men. Let's be very honest about it. And while I'm not going to say Meek's a bad person for doing it, societal reasons where you came from being a product of your environment, that's why you made that music and it worked for you for many years. You're having this new like come to God moment or like you're thinking straight moment because you're not the newest guy they want to hear rap about spinning the block anymore. When it was your turn, it was cool. Now they want to hear the new ignorant guy rap about spinning the block and killing all his ops. You have realized that, hey, listen, hip hop generally, actually mostly entertainment, is a young man's sport. They don't want to hear gangster rap, or you're not going to have this vicious, crazy fan base when you're 40 talking about, yo, I'm going to slide on my ops. Also, that's just not your reality. So I love the growth that I'm seeing from Meek Mill, but let's not rewrite the book and act like, oh no, like I was doing that stuff and it was profitable, but only because I was getting paid. No, you were authentic in that environment. It paid off. And now the reason why, like, he could rap about killing people now, it just won't work as well. I'm sorry. Meek could say he killed 20 people and people could be like, yeah, all right, nigga. Like, it just doesn't work anymore. You're older. This is still a young man's game, unfortunately. You get what I mean? Again, it's disingenuous, and this is my only problem with what he said. Because, yes, it does pay to make negative music. And by the way, that's why I got to give some credit to NBA Youngboy. Youngboy just said some shit, like in Billboard, saying, yo, he feels bad about people who he may have influenced with his music to do bad shit. You know why I'm impressed by that? Youngboy's at the fucking peak of his popularity right now. Right now, he has so many people listening to him. And rather than wait until his numbers drop and fall all the way off or people not really looking at him as that guy anymore, he's saying that now and trying to battle it. And shit, he's kind of going through a mental thing where he's like, shit, but I kind of do want to still rap a little bit about that. But like, I do know there is some ramifications. I think that's real. When now you're kicking with Robert Kraft and you're doing great business moves and it's like, if Meek rapped about just straight violence, it just wouldn't make sense. You could see his life. That's just not where you're at anymore. Are you still from the trenches? Yes. But are you sliding on ops? That just seems far-fetched. Let's not blame it on some type of a narrative or agenda that you're getting paid to rap about stuff. Because if you were, why did you stop accepting the money? Did you just become a good guy now? Because throughout your life, you've been rapping about violence. The truth is, when it works, it works. And not that these guys are evil or want to see people hurt, but when it works, it works. And when it don't work, you kind of see the hypocrisy because unfortunately, gangster rap and a lot of facets of rap itself, you kind of are incentivized to promote drug use, right? Because the fans want to hear about drug use. They don't want to, like, I'm going to be honest with you, this song Lil Durk got, All My Life, very uplifting song. If you look at it on the charts and the markets, it's doing better in markets that's not hip hop. You know why? In those markets, like, they'll play happy-go-lucky Taylor Swift songs. You can't go on Hot 97 and play, like, 3 uplifting songs. Niggas want to hear about sliding on ops, beefing, turning up. And I think it's a product of the environment more than, somebody's paying us to make that type of music. Because why? Did you stop accepting payment or did they stop paying you? Somebody said Meek is transitioning away from music. I don't think Meek is transitioning away from music. I think Meek is trying to understand his role in music as an elder statesman. Like, that's the hard thing. I think he's going through a very difficult period. And I'm watching it and I'm rooting for him. Because number one, he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man who's making great business decisions. I actually agree with him with some of the Robert Kraft shit. Robert Kraft did take some risks on it. And by the way, I don't know if he said he was reacting to TikTok stuff, but I know I've been critical of like Lil Baby and Michael Rubin or Lil Baby and like Robert Kraft. When I'm being critical of them, I don't want to see you niggas bent over doing bunny hops for these dudes. Like, if there's no other relationships, and I've watched y'all hang like, yo, this my man talk, I've never seen y'all do the weird stuff with your black friends. I don't think it's appropriate, or I think there's a power structure thing going on there. If I only see you being weird and sus with your older billionaire white friends, you hanging out with them, nothing wrong. You should do business and expand your portfolio, and I do think Meek is doing that. I think Meek is in this interesting spot where he's trying to figure out, what the fuck, dog, I still could rap like hell, but people don't want to hear the content I used to rap about from me anymore. They have their new favorites, their new ignorant favorites that they want to hear it from. How do I pivot? Do I have some self-growth? Right? And this is a self-growth you usually see from most of these guys. They start looking at a micro level. When they're young and popping, all they're worried about is we're gonna slide on the block. They're right in the midst of it. The older they get, they start talking about, yeah, you know what I mean? This music business, it kind of encourages us to put out music about violence and this. They start talking macro. That's what he's talking about. But here's the funny thing. Meek's dropping an album. You think Meek's album is going to be about upliftment, or you think Meek is still going to be talking about I still knock your head off? He probably has a little bit more diversity on it, but still, he's at an interesting point that I think every gangster rapper gets to, unless you're too great. For example, Future. Future is just, this is why, like, there's a time, I said it to somebody, and again, I love Meek. I'm not hating at him at all. There was a time that Meek was the East Coast version of what you would say Future is, and we used to call both street niggas. Now we get to find out niggas, at least Wack says that Future ain't really a street nigga, whatever. Anyway, but they were really neck and neck. That's not the case anymore. Future is a top 20, top 25 of all time hip hop, just rapper. From his influence to just like, he's a GOAT. And Meek, I think he's a legend, but he's not Future. So I'll tell you why I said that. Future right now could make an album about promethazine or leans or perks, and Future is the same age as Meek, if not older, but we don't give a fuck. Future is so much of the culture that we don't give a fuck. We never look at Future and be like, yo, bro, you're getting too old for this. Like, Future is still talking about fuck my baby mama's husband. Future's like 42. That's how Future's talking. But with Meek, it's like we're kind of requiring him to grow up more than we're requiring other people. So that's what I said. We also have unfair standards. Somebody said, bro, Future not top 25? Nah, Future's top 25 of all time. I'm sorry to tell you. Top 25 hip-hop artists of all time? Future's it. I'm sorry. Future is, if there's a Mount Rushmore for Atlanta, Future's on it. If Future ain't on it, blow the whole list up. I'm sorry. Future's on it, my nigga. I'm sorry. But that's what I'm trying to say. We don't require Future to grow up. Future's still sending subliminals to the bitches he fucks. Better duck next time. If she ain't got an AP, she is not one of mine. Like, that's how Future's acting. With Meek, and this is why also I think sometimes, like, when these rappers become activists, people start requiring growth in their music. That's why I think Lil Baby did The Bigger Picture, and then he kind of shied away from it. Because now people want Meek to be like J. Cole. Look, he's on these panels. Ain't nothing wrong with these panels, but you know what people are going to say too? Yo, you talk so great about all this stuff and look like you're in reform and all that, but your music about the same shit. So it's requiring him to kind of grow up. And I think it's just interested in weird place to be as Meek. You're not the youngest anymore. You might rap like one of the best, but you're still like people rather hear the stories from other people. Somebody's the future Octavius. Somebody says to say that was a reason sounds like a sellout. Yeah, well, I would say it's a cop out for Meek to say that. Oh, you know, you get paid to just rap about you get like there's somebody paying you to rap about destruction. No, you came in, you watched other people, whether it's Cassidy, Beanie Siegel. These are the rappers you grew up on, right? You made the choice to rap about that type of content. It worked. Once it worked, you continue to perpetuate it. And you didn't have a change of thought until recently.
Doors for people like me to be able to power forward, because the things that fund us, that don't power me forward. You know, I just make sure, because I know better and I'm at an age point, I'm 36. They power us really went from when we 21 to 25 where we really don't know. I'm one of the lucky ones that made it through where I was able to get my knowledge and sense, and I'm the one that keep the line on the rap ignorance and be able to level out conversations like these and deliver.
Oh shit, chat. Just watch this for a second, cause I'm hearing thunder and shit like that. I got Pluto outside. God damn, gotta go get my boy. All right, just watch this for 2 minutes. Let me go get Pluto. Sorry.
To the young people who
storming
may not
outside
attend things like this, so I would just say I appreciate you guys for having given me this opportunity, and I appreciate he didn't have to come to that prison and come see a young guy that was toting a gun once upon a time in the hood and put his name on the line when he had a lot of people telling him don't do that, and he did it. So I commend him, and I didn't expect that from a person of where he come from, and he opened a bridge to my life to be able to open bridge for more people. Your turn, Robert. You gotta tell your story.
That was perfectly said, Meek. And
thank you too.
And to your point, conversations really open doors and bridge gaps and create the type of relationships that do heal things. And Robert, Tikkun Olam is a Jewish concept of taking action to repair the world, which is what you did, took action to go and see Meek in prison and took action in inviting him to Poland. How has this value shaped your life and your actions?
Well, that's really the centerfold. First of all, it's an honor for me to be here today. And Professor, thank you all for giving me this opportunity, listening to Professor Gates and Meek speak about our joint communities. And thank you, Derek, for inviting us here and giving this opportunity. You know, I grew up in, I was privileged to have two loving parents. We were very modest financial home, but my father left me an ethical will, and he said, when you go to bed every night, make sure the people you've touched that day are richer for having known you. And that symbolizes the Tikkun Olam to me. And I love this country with all its faults, because I was a young man who went to school on full scholarship. I didn't have my first car till on my own till I was 25. And, you know, I've been able to live my dream. You know, I had a greater chance to being a starting quarterback in the NFL. There are 32 than owning a franchise in my hometown. But what does that mean? It means that this country has been open to everyone to have great opportunities. And I'm very worried about the country right now, what's going on. And visiting Meek in jail, and it changed my life because I'd never been to a jail. And when I went in there and I saw him, for doing a wheelie, he was put on probation for 11 months. And here's a young, 11 years, but doing the wheelie,
I got 2 years in prison.
He said he got 2 years in prison.
Numbers have never been my strength. But the point is, I'm looking at this young man who I have deep affection for. He's in an orange jumpsuit. He could be earning millions of dollars, paying taxes, being with his 7-year-old son and his mom, who was working 2 jobs because when his father got killed when he was 5, and he's in jail on a ridiculous item, and we're paying as a society to keep him there because of a crazy, bigoted system. And so we have to change that. And he and I and a fellow rapping colleague of his, Jay, and a friend of mine, Jay-Z and Michael Rubin, we started this Reform Alliance to try to fix that. Because we have more people in jail in America per capita than any country in the world, and that's crazy. And it's not in America's best interest. But also, what I see happening now with hate, and it starts, Professor Gates is right, it starts with the Jewish people, it'll go to every other minority group. We have to stand together and stand proud and push back on this to keep the vibrancy of this country.
Well, outside of the Reform Alliance, you also, the Kraft Group and the New England Patriots and Gillette Stadium and other retail manufacturing operations outside of all of that, the Kraft Group is committed to erasing hate. Recently, the Kraft Group founded the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. So let's take a quick look at this video and learn more about FCAS, and then you can tell us more about this organization. A wonderful video for the FCAS, Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. We all have our blue squares.
So someone, I feel a very close proximity to Meek, and I wanted him to see with his own eyes, because he should see the message. And the same way, look, this country for 400 years for people of color has
I was talking to some guys backstage about the board of parole. You know, I'm an artist, so I can rap about it and the world hear about it, but you know, I might talk about the parole system and tell a story in a way that some people may not be able to hear the voice of young men on parole, but you guys, if you didn't hear it, your kids that may grow up in the next 10, 20 years know about the pain and struggles of people like us went through parole. So if it didn't kick in this era next year, in the next 10 years, it may kick in. So, you know, me using...
All right, man. Let me see.